Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. I'm recording this because I'm actually traveling and I'm not sure if I'll have good network. So let's hope this all goes well. It's one of my first times doing a pre-recording. Let me just share my screen and then we can get into the middle of what I'm presenting today. I hope you're all doing well and that you're all safe. I know it's been a very challenging time for many of us. Some of us have lost people, and some of us are actually struggling with COVID. But to everybody, I hope you've been able to stay safe and be vaccinated as well. Today, I'm going to be presenting about the opportunities and challenges faced in the value addition and marketing of Shea Nilotica in Uganda and beyond. To begin with, my name is Etiang. I am the proud owner of a company called Mocha Beauty and Skincare Limited that manufactures Shea Care Naturals. We are a wholly Ugandan company. We're all women, and there is one man, I have to say. So we're bringing up the levels in gender balance from that point. We're based in Kampala. We've been incorporated since 2015. So we got into Shea purely as an act of love. I started using Shea on my son when he was born. He had a few challenges with his skin and found that it worked. But then what we found was that it wasn't being packaged or marketed well. In fact, I didn't even know that Uganda had Shea until I started looking for it. So for us, we're very proud about going from source to skin. Shea provides skincare to both manufacturers, retailers, and consumers of shea butter that are looking for natural ingredients. Unlike, we pride ourselves on being having very high levels of shea in all of our products, whether we're doing lotions or butters or creams. So that is where we add our value. In terms of the value we create it through the various channels. As you all are aware, this process begins with the collectors at the community. Once the shea nuts are collected, it is then processed through local processors who we have been working with directly. We have only this year, we've started looking into working with collectors because we do want to get into processing by vertical integration. So once we get in the butter, we go through our production processes. We work with about 20 retailers within Kampala. They're also available online. We're under the process of getting certification, both for UNBS, and we're looking into other fields. How we add value, the value is added to our customers through our supply chain, our manufacturing, marketing and sales. We pride ourselves in customer service, looking at our quality control, and also research and development into new products and new trends that are happening within the skincare world. So you can see it's a long process from the nut to the customer. There's a long process for all of us in the value chain. This, I think, has probably been expanded on before me, talking about the value addition from the collection of nuts into the processing of the shea butter. This, many of us will be familiar with. Now, in terms of the products we produce, these are the products. As I mentioned, we do butters, creams, and lotions, balms, soaps. We went into hand washers and even sanitizer last year when COVID-19 hit up. So this is our brand. Our brand is called Shea Care, and this is generally what it looks like. To give you an idea of where we are as an industry, Uganda is it's just touching the surface of the shea butter industry. Just to give you an idea, these statistics were put through on a GIZ report last year. In terms of production of nuts, the global production was estimated at around 800,000. West Africa was producing predominantly the most of that, 795,000. Uganda was only recorded as doing 3,500 tons. I believe that stats on Uganda are probably higher. The issue is that most of our statistics are not not recorded. There's a lot that happens in the informal sector rather than through the formal sector. So being able to know who has collected what and where and from which area of the country is very hard to garner as information. The other interesting part to note, when you look at the imports to Europe, 60,000 tons were done in total. Majority of this came through West Africa, predominantly probably Ghana, and Nigeria had a large impact on that. Uganda was only recorded as doing 30 tons. In terms of value proposition for the industry, I've really just explanated what I am doing. When you look, and I take myself to be a typical value addition company. So we look at our customers in two forms: a direct customer and a business customer. The direct customer is looking at the natural skincare market. They're ingredient conscious, and they're looking to specialize because they're either looking for specific, they're trying to solve a specific problem, or they're trying to follow a particular trend. The B2B customers are largely cosmetic manufacturers. They, of course, follow trends. So right now we're seeing a huge growth in the natural oil market, especially within skincare. So there's an increased demand for shea butter, avocado oil, moringa oil, some of these other more niche oils. But shea butter at the moment is leading in terms of new areas. I remember a few years ago, everybody was talking about coconut, but at the moment it's all shea butter. So as you will see, in terms of B2B customers, you've got the cosmetic manufacturers, you've got the international retailers, you've got the domestic retailers. So for us, the international retailers that we currently deal with are ShopRite, Carrefour, Game. The domestic retailers are people like Capital Shoppers, Quality Supermarkets, the retailers really who are more homegrown. We also do deals with some corporates or hotels. They also are looking to have own brand sort of cosmetics. In terms of the value proposition, there's a lot to be said about our wild harvest. Very few of us, I believe there's only one person currently who is licensed organic. I'm hoping Margaret has been able to share experience. Organic butter is a huge deal. We're seeing price differences between conventional and organic butter. The more of us that can get organically certified, the better, both in terms of pricing and then also in terms of demand. But it is a process. It is a very big process and it is costly. There is also a market for handmade products. The people are asking us to be more environmentally responsible. When you go up country and you see what is happening, or even within our cities, when you see what is happening with plastics, it's a shame. The packages need to be well, the products in themselves need to be well packaged and branded so that they actually look attractive to a customer, and that requires also a lot of research and money as well. For example, within Uganda, we struggle to find appropriate packaging for our products. Now, this is where the interesting parts come in. A lot of us look at numbers and look at the potential in terms of what the industry can do. In terms of market potential, and these are statistics we took between 2019 and 2020. When you look at the local market was currently worth 805 billion. It's probably dipped a bit, and that's in terms of Uganda shillings. Probably dipped a bit because of the existing situation with coronavirus. However, we are huge consumers of cosmetics. Now, the percentage of which that shea butter contributes to that, we haven't been able to extrapolate. But if you look at those numbers, even if you're looking at less than 5% of that, that's a huge margin. There's a huge potential market for anybody who's in this industry. The regional market is higher. Of course, expenditure in Kenya and Tanzania, because of their larger population size, is also bigger. Kenyans have more disposable income. It is it is a more developed market. It's also easier to enter if you get into if you channel through the retailers. In terms of the global market, this number is huge. Some of the statistics which I got from this got off the CBI website. They are estimating that by the end of 2025, the value of the shea butter market will be about 2.9 billion. Excuse me, 2.9 billion US dollars. Now, I do have to say that approximately 10% of that is looking at shea butter for cosmetics, but that's still a massive market. And then when you look on top of that, that a quarter of that is going into Europe. If anybody just decides to focus on particular areas and do it well, you will earn a very good living out of that. This slide gives you an idea of the regional interest in global cosmetic market, where the interest is lying. Asia Pacific have always been huge consumers of cosmetics. They currently consume about 39%, close to 40, followed by North America, followed by Europe, and then some of the other countries, continents. In terms of Africa, I do know that Nigeria and South Africa are the biggest consumers of shea butter. So if somebody was to decide to just stay within the region, again, and focus, it does add value into what you're putting through. Now, a lot of the challenges we face when we come up to our customers can fit into two sort of brackets. The local retailer or buyer will ask, are you registered? Are you fully registered, let's say, with a TIN number? Are you registered with UNBS? Can you be consistent? Can you supply consistently? Do you have the right packaging? The international buyers, who are probably bulk buyers, are more interested in what your annual production looks like. Can they buy the butter? Can they buy the nuts? How long can you sustain this? What sort of numbers do you have on the trees? What is your annual yield? All of these are numbers which we're being asked, and the data is not readily available. So we do have gaps in the data. It would be very useful to get access to that information. And that helps in terms of being able to sell. The other challenges we face are both in terms of certification. A lot of them ask for different sort of certificates, some of which are available, some of which aren't, some of which take time, but all of it requires a lot of effort and a lot of resources, which for small companies like mine, certainly can't do them without assistance from grants or financing. The other biggest dilemma we found was in terms of logistics. Getting shea butter even from Kampala to the other side of the world is a logistical nightmare. You either have issues with the packaging of the drums, or the particular logistic carrier hasn't dealt with it well. We recently had a situation where we actually did ship out some shea butter. It wasn't tied down well, so there were a few buckets which were damaged on delivery. So all of those things, we have to have a concerted effort in terms of looking, in terms of everybody specializing in their particular areas. One with let's say in terms of my production on the quality. Two, making sure that whoever is going to carry this thing knows how to carry a butter, knows how to deal with it at the right temperatures, knows where to get it to the end customer. The major marketing challenges that we face, we do not have an active umbrella for Shea. I know this has been discussed, it's been discussed for a while, but when I especially last year, I started seeing a lot of emphasis being put on post-COVID recovery programs, different incentives for people to actually go back into business. Now, a lot of these require an association. Right now, I do know there's talk of it. I know we've started one, but we need to be active. We need to accelerate that. The individual players are working actively. So whether it's entities like UIA, UWIL, PSFU, GIZ, Uganda Export Promotions Board, all of them are sort of working individually. And it's only when you get onto programs like this, when you're listening to people, you actually really realize that if they were actually to work together and enhance and decide to focus on one particular area, there's a lot which we would do, which we would be able to do under an umbrella. Excuse me. Now, the next problem we have, the visibility of Shea Nilotica. We have not publicized to its advantage the benefits of Shea Nilotica vis-a-vis the Paradoxia virgin. Right now, we know that our shea butter works extremely well within skin. The rest of the world doesn't. The rest of the world just believes shea butter is shea butter. There's no difference between us and the West Africans. Going to entities and trade shows like Vivaness, Biofac in Cosmetic Asia, and even the Dubai Expo, which is happening later this year, would really start to give us visibility within the international market. Also differentiating ourselves from the West. They have been very, very, very proud of their shea butter. They are 30 to 40 years ahead of us. For us to really continue down the path we're going, we have to differentiate ourselves, which might include getting our own inky name. And that in itself, what I believe would help us to sustain the price differential, because the price difference between us and West Africa is quite predominant. If we're to maintain that, given our small quantities of share, we must push in as much as possible in terms of its value and its uniqueness. Now, the opportunities that exist, definitely, if us as an industry are to focus on share for the cosmetic sector, it would allow us to really just push ourselves as a niche product, push ourselves as a quality product and a unique product coming from Uganda. We could look at both the conventional and the natural or organic markets. And as I showed you before, those have a lot of potential, even with the increase in demand. Demand is ever increasing. I was on a call recently where this gentleman from Europe actually mentioned that if you have a product, yeah, and you can get it out there is a demand for it. You know, he is a particular buyer in natural oils, and somebody was asking about, you know, what the demand was for moringa or for turmeric oil. And he said, look, there's a market for everything. As long as you can get it out, as long as you can get a quality product out, they will find a demand. So there's increase in the population, there's increased demand for natural and natural ingredients. And also don't forget the younger generations that are coming up are more discerning. They want to know, they want to see accountability, they want to see traceability for their products, they demand it. It would be important to make Shea Nilotica part of our national strategy. This is a unique product for us, even within East Africa. Even if we're trading with our neighbors, it is unique to us. It should be one of our key export items. It would be good to see support from government at a macro level. I know this requires a lot of it requires a lot of lobbying, but for example, if we were to put in place or to start actioning something similar to what Ghana has a policy of one factory, one district. Now that has enabled both the shea butter and the cocoa industry to grow. Incentives for local players. Recently, I was able to visit Lydia in Otuke district. Now she's an amazing woman. She's put up a factory in the middle of nowhere because it's closer to the shea nut, but her access in terms of roads, her access in terms of power are dreadful. So you've got this amazing factory in the middle of nowhere, but now getting the butter to the market is impossible. Or it's a huge challenge. Utilizing our existing channels to create awareness. As I mentioned earlier, visiting trade shows and expos is a must. That is also very expensive. It is not an endeavor one can take on lightly, especially if you're a small player. But support certainly should be given and can be given, and you will see the demand for our local share growing. Access to local and international retailers who are willing to stock our products, that certainly is there, but that comes again with quality and consistency issues. Working with our trade and foreign missions, there are a number of foreign missions who are so eager to actually work and actually promote Ugandan products. They just need to get access to them. Utilizing the growth in digital marketing and e-commerce for the industry. That's a massive one. I know certainly last year my business was sustained through the efforts that I put just using my phone. A lot of people calling, and I'd be able to respond to them on WhatsApp, even when we couldn't deliver to the supermarket. So that certainly has to be looked in. And it's again a very specialized industry. So it's one where we need to get key players who can help us actually see where the growth comes. And there are many. And lastly, like I mentioned, the logistic issue is a massive one. When somebody goes online and they see a website and they want to order, and they're ordering one small tub of shea butter and it costs them $100, they won't order. Issues like that really impact our ability to sell and our ability to generate income. I thank you for listening. I hope this has been a small, I hope it has been interesting to you. Gives you a small snapshot of what we are doing as ourselves, as Shea Care within the market. I hope you stay well, and I will try and listen in and also try and contribute. I wish you a happy Shea Day to everybody. It's a wonderful thing we're doing. Thank you.